All right, so for the past few weeks, I've been testing this out right here, which is the Anker SOLIX F3000, and more importantly, in comparison to this popular one right here, which is the Ecoflow Delta Pro. And the main reason why I wanted to test it out is because not only can I use it as a home backup solution here for my house, you can take these on the road with you if you wanted to go RV, camping, or you just want to have this on your job site. They do have large wheels on both of them. They also have handles here because they are pretty heavy. This one comes in about 96, 97 pounds. This one about 90, 91 pounds. Now for me, when I talk about backup solution for your home, I don't have a switch hooked up yet. That's the next thing I am planning on getting for the house, where I'm able just to plug in these power solutions to the wall, and then it'll automatically switch over if there's a full power outage. Right now, I'm just using them as full backup. So if I wanted to charge up my fridge in case the power goes out, charge up all of my appliances and things like that, that's what I use these for. So in this video, let's go through the comparisons between these two power stations, as well as, of course, what are some of the main differences between the F3000 and the Ecoflow Delta Pro. First, we'll talk about capacity. We're at 3,072 watt hours on the F3000. Here on the Ecoflow Delta, we're at a larger 3,600 watt hours. Next, let's jump straight into price, because that's also a big factor when you guys are out there looking for power stations. As of the time of this recording, the Ecoflow Pro comes in at $19.99, which is also a pretty big discount from their original retail price. And when it comes to the Anker SOLIX F3000, they are introducing this unit here at $1,699. Now, we'll retail a little bit higher later on, but as far as an introductory price, this thing is going to be about 300 bucks more affordable than Ecoflow Pro. So if you do want to take advantage of the huge savings you're going to get on the F3000, make sure you guys use my links down below. Both these power stations use LFP batteries, and when it comes down to cycles, the F3000 is rated for 4,000 cycles at 80%. The Ecoflow Pro is rated for 3,500 cycles at 80%. Next, we'll jump over to the output ports that we have on both systems. Both power stations have a 120 volt, 30 amp plug here on the very front. And when it comes down to your standard 120, we have 4 of them on the Ecoflow. We also have 4 here on the F3000. I do like that both units have the 12 volt. You have the kind of old school car socket here, as well as the DC port here at the very top. We also have that here on the Ecoflow Pro. We have 2 USB-A ports here, 12 watts each, as well as 2 USB-C ports rated for 100 watts. The Ecoflow Pro has 4 USB-As as well as 2 USB-C ports here. Now, of course, there are larger ones on the market. The one that sets this one apart is that it can also take 3600 as a pass-through. Now, for those that already have gas generators like this one right here, this is the Champion 5500 watt gas generator. What's nice about having one of these is that you can have up to 3600 watts of pass-through with the F3000. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, I can keep a bunch of appliances hooked up to this thing and keep this in my house, have everything from all of my appliances, my refrigerator, everything hooked to this, and then I can still continuously charge up the system using a gas generator. And with the fumes and the noise, these of course need to stay outside, but you can still power up your SOLIX here and keep this one indoors. The one thing that is different with the Anker one is that you do have up to 3,600 watts of pass-through, where a lot of the other battery stations out there mostly go up to 1,800. First things first, let's power this guy up. Now this is the standard plug. So just plugging in with the standard plug, we are getting 1,800 or 1,792 as far as input goes. Plug that in, go to on. Right now we are using 1,600 output, and we're bringing in 1,755 coming from the generator. So we have actually more input coming in than we do have output. Like I said, this would ideally be outside of your house. I'm just showing you for reference here, but this will be outside. This you can keep inside of your house, and that means you're able to continuously charge up the battery while you're still using your appliances inside of the house. Now let's see if I hook up something like my dryer. All right, with the dryer on, it brings us up to 19. I can actually turn it on higher. Brings us up to 2,300 output. However, our input, we're at 1,700 as far as input goes. What's nice is that Anker has this plug right here, which you're able to use the 30 amp plug, the RV plug, and you are now able to charge up the F3000 up to 3,600 watts, but not just charge it up. Again, you can use it as a 3,600 watt pass-through. Okay, starting to charge up. 1,900, 28, 3,400 coming in. 3,500, plug this one in. All right, so I have the oven turned on, and you can see now, I have 3527 coming in from the generator. Got 1558 going out to the oven, and let's turn this one on. 3146. As you can see here, we have a lot more coming in than actually going out. All right, next let's run these similar tests with the Ecoflow. Okay, we are at 1600. Good, 1600 here, and let's power on my toaster. Toaster is on, and we have 1700 input coming in from the generator, and we also have 1630 going out to the toaster. Now that I have my dryer plugged in, let's boost this up a little bit. Good. So there you go. You can see here that it's not able to handle that much, and as you can see, the safety just went off. This brought it up to 2,000 or 2,200, and once it jumped up to 2,200, it automatically, the safety kicked in and it shut off. Let's try that again. So once it went over 1,800, it actually triggered the safety. So let's turn on the toaster again. Okay, we are at 1,800 coming in, 1,600 going out to the toaster. Let's turn on the dryer. Okay, we're at 2,000 coming in, 1,900 out, and then it trips up. Once we get over 2,200 or so, the safety kicks on and actually shuts this power down. With that occurring, let me retest the F3000 again, just with the standard plug, and see if we are able to charge up or power up these appliances a little bit longer than this one. Okay, so here we go. Let's try this one more time. Plugging in the standard plug. There it is. Okay, charging input 1,797. Fake. 1,760 input. We've got 1,600 output, which is now charging up through this. Charging up the toaster, and let's do the same thing with our heater here. Crank this up. Okay, we're at 2,300 output. And it's still going. Now remember, we just did the Ecoflow Delta, and once it jumped up to 2,200 or so, the battery automatically shut off. So right now we're at almost 2,400, and it's still going. We're still going. Let me bump up the heat on this one. 3,200. We have 3,200 output on this. We have 1,600 input. Look at that, 3,200 output right now, and it's still going, where on the Ecoflow Delta Pro, once it jumped up into the 2,000, 2,200 range, it automatically, for safety reasons, it automatically shut off. Look at that. All right, powering it down, and big difference there. So with the Ecoflow, after about 2,200 or so, it automatically does a shutdown for safety reasons on that battery station. Here on the F3000, we were able to power it all the way up to 3,500 watts output while still bringing in 1,600 here from the generator. And then if we were to use the 30 amp cord, we can now bring in up to 3,600 watts of power into the F3000. That's definitely a big deal, knowing that if you do have a power outage and you were to hook up a bunch of appliances to it, that you know that this right here would be able to take that higher output. Next difference between these two systems right here is the solar input. On the Ecoflow Delta Pro, we have a maximum of 1600 watts input from solar, and here on the F3000, we have up to 2400 watts. Now, as far as being able to test that, I don't have a mass array of solar panels that can generate that much power. However, I do have two of the 400 watt foldable panels from Anker, and I have one panel plugged into each one of these. So right now we are getting 192 watts of input from this solar panel here, and then the other 400, I'm actually getting 165 watts coming into the Ecoflow. Very interesting why I'm getting less on this one versus this one. They are both in direct sunlight and they are right next to each other. Now, the one thing that is different with the F3000 is that we actually have two solar inputs here on the back. The left port is a 165 volt port, which uses a proprietary plug from Anker. You're also able to hook it up to your solar panel here. This plug and adapter could give you up to 1600 watts, and this right here, the standard XT60 port, give you up to 800 watts for a total of 2400. Here on the back of the Ecoflow, we have a single XT60 port giving you up to 1600 watts of solar input. All right, so I have both of the 400 watt panels, so 800 watts total coming in here, and it's giving me 358 watts of input from the two solar panels. Now it is pointed straight up in the sun, and I would say is a little bit to the side. So if I angle it just a little bit more, I probably can get a little bit more out of it. So if you do have a bunch of solar panels at your house, you are able to get a lot more here. 2400 watts of input from solar. Here we have 1600. Now, the one thing I do like about both of these systems is that you are able to expand out or expand the capacity of them by adding on expansion battery. Now, the one thing I did notice is that the expansion batteries on these are also large battery banks just like this, which you have to wheel around, where here on the F3000, you can actually stack them on top. Now, after using both these stations for a little while now, well, of course, the Ecoflow I've been using for a long time compared to the Anker SOLIX. I've been using this one for the past few weeks. The unique factor I do like about this one is that 3600 watt of pass-through using your generator. I do like having that option to use the generator as a pass-through to charge and keep your appliances running throughout the day. Then at night, you just unplug everything, then you'll use this system here, which is nice and quiet. And for those that have a ton of solar panels already ready to go and you want to take advantage of the larger input capacity, 2400 watts of solar here on the F3000 compared to 1800 watts here on the Ecoflow Pro. And there it is, guys, a little comparison between the Ecoflow Delta Pro versus the all-new Anker SOLIX F3000. And like I said earlier, if you want to take advantage of the introductory price of the F3000, I'll make sure the links are down below in the video description. As always, if you guys got some value from this video, a big like would be much appreciated. This is Ultra Stasio with FlytPath.com. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.